3, 2, 1.
Hi, my name is Jackson Solbeck, and this is my speech on why kids should not start playing football so early. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I hold near and dear to my heart. It's a very special topic to me, and that's youth sports. I think youth sports are great, and they can help kids do a lot of different things and learn a lot of different valuable lessons like I did. But playing football at such a young age is not the greatest of ideas. And here I'm going to be going over a couple reasons why you should not allow your kids to join youth football at such a young age. According to StopSportsInjuries.com article on preventing football injuries, in 2007, more than 900,000 athletes under the age of 18 were in the ER for football-related injuries. Now that's a substantial amount of kids that were in injuries from football-related activities. And it goes to show you that the younger these kids are, the more injury-prone and susceptible they are to getting injured. My 3 points I'm going to be going over today are, as kids and adolescents, they are not quite at a developmental part in their lives where they can handle these hits and all these things that they're taking from football and sustain these kind of activities. Second thing I'm going to be going over is how it could possibly have harsh and serious effects in the future for these kids if they start too young. Third thing I'll be going over is kids are more prone to injury and their bodies are still developing, so they're not quite ready to handle these kinds of sports. Okay, first I'm going to go into their bodies are not completely developed. At the age of 6, children's heads are 90% grown, which is pretty big and almost full size, but their necks are incredibly weak, which can lead to concussions and all different types of sports-related activities from football. Their bodies just aren't ready to be jolting around and taking those kinds of hits and all those things with their heads that are almost full size, but their necks that are just really weak. And kids are still in the developmental stage right now, and their bodies are still growing. They're not quite all there yet, and it's going to take them a while before they can get to those parts where they can handle this type of stress on their body without injuries or anything like that. And now I'm going to move on to my second point, which is starting early could have serious effect in their lives. And first thing is, these kids sustaining head injuries, concussions, all that, it can lead to some seriously harsh issues later on in life. A lot of players, some players that have played for a long amount of years suffer from what is called CTE, which is a degenerate brain disease that's linked from concussions from football. And from these, they can have depression, suicidal thoughts, and just a lower cognitive level of thinking and overall just knowing. This is a very serious issue and it should not be taken lightly. CTE has affected many football players, and there have been many lawsuits about it, and it's just, there's been a lot of players that used to play that have killed themselves and done stuff like that just because they were mentally right in the heads. As an example, a young man named Joseph Chernach played Pop Warner for 4 years, from when he was 11 to 14 years old. And his parents noticed a difference in him later on in life in high school. He used to play football, he used to do all types of sports and be active, but they noticed that he totally changed once he got older. And these concussions and all these usually happen and affect them later on in life. But the issue with him was not only that he did all of these things and he just kind of became quieter and he seemed depressed, he hung himself at the mere age of 25, which is incredibly sad. And you know, it's happened to some pro athletes. Junior Seau was a former NFL player that had CTE and suicidal thoughts from it, and he ended up killing himself. Very sad topic. And I found this from CNN.com on an article called "Should You Let Your Kids Play Football?" And next topic is kids are more prone to injury. They're still growing, and their bones are not quite strong enough yet to be able to handle everything that's been thrown at them. Kids are just too young, and you just see these little kids that look like bobbleheads running around, hitting their friends, tackling each other, and just, it doesn't quite look right. According to StanfordChildren.org, playground sports, and bike-related injuries account for most of the injuries between ages 5 to 14 years old. So most kids 5 to 14-year-old are sustaining injuries from those things. And just overall, it's not a great idea to put your kids in football. They aren't ready mentally, physically, and their bodies are just developing. You don't want to harm them or take away from what they could have in the future. I know a lot of parents out there are worried that their kids aren't going to be quite good enough because they didn't put them in youth football. Well, I can put that to rest. Me, myself, I didn't personally start playing football until 7th grade, and I think it was a great idea because, I never walked in there with injuries before. I never had anything that was bothering me from previous things that happened from injuries at football, practice, just all that type of stuff. So I'm really glad that I started. So I started a little bit late, and it paid off, and I'm playing Division I football, so it's great, and you can't really beat that. Like I said, parents, I know you want them to take full advantage of what they can do, but there's other things they can do. They can play football, or they can play basketball, play baseball. They can do a lot of the things to get their bodies ready to play football. They can train with football trainers. Just putting them in there and just telling them to hit somebody is not the greatest idea all the time. So, for my closing statement, I'd just like to say that please, parents, do not put your kids in football quite yet. Just let them grow and get to about middle school age. 7th grade, 8th grade is perfect time for them to start because their bodies are all just about getting mature enough to handle the stress of everyday football practice and all that, and their brains are going to be able to handle it better. Their necks are going to be stronger. It's just going to be an overall better thing. And don't risk your children's safety for your own personal goals. It's never a great idea. You don't want them to have possible brain damage later on in life. You don't want them to break an arm. You don't want them. They're just not ready, and they shouldn't be playing quite yet. And that's all. Thank you.